The brand new season is finally here and the meta has completely shifted, so today guys I'm going to be ranking all 26 cards in Merge Tactics from worst to best. Starting things off guys, the worst card in Merge Tactics to nobody's surprise is the Bandit. Now the Bandit has good traits, Ace and Assassins are pretty good, but her ability and her damage are terrible guys. Her dash takes way too long to charge now from her recent rework, and her damage is not worth it. Her stun does not last for a while. If you use this character, you're literally trolling. The Ace, if you need the Ace trait, use the P.E.K.K.A or the Mega Knight or the Executioner. Anything is better. If you want the Assassins, go for the Golden Knight or the Goblin instead. There's literally no reason to use the Bandit. Next up, guys, we have the Skeleton Dragons. If I start my match with the Skeleton Dragons, I'm immediately leaving. The Skeleton Dragons is the worst 2 elixir card in the game because his traits are pretty decent. Rangers are obviously very good. Undead is decent, however, his ability is terrible. He reduces his HP every time he duplicates, and he takes so long to wait before he actually duplicates. So oftentimes when you're in a match, your Skeleton Dragon is just sitting there waiting to duplicate while the other troop just takes him out, which is obviously very terrible. Other than that guys, if you're running Rangers, obviously there's so many better options like the Archer or the Dark Goblin. The third worst card in Merge Tactics is the Princess. The Princess costs 4 elixir, she is so expensive, and she's just not worth it. The only way you want to use her is with Rangers, but even in Rangers, she takes so long to ramp up and there are better options, like the Dark Goblin or the Archer instead, and her Noble trait isn't even that good, like the Noble trait is bad. So there's no reason to use the Princess over any other card. And often what will happen is that she'll just take so long to ramp up that she'll end up dying before she can actually reach her max stacks. Next up, the fourth worst card in the game is the Royal Ghost. The Ghost just feels extremely underwhelming, especially for a 4 elixir card. His ability just takes so long to unwind, and it's not even that beneficial. He dodges maybe a couple shots, that's it, and his damage isn't even that good. If you want to use him for undead, use another undead like Skeleton King or Giant Skeleton, which are actually good cards. And if you want to use Assassins, use the Golden Knight or the Goblin instead for better damage. Again, same story, there's no reason to use the Ghost over other cards. Next up guys, we have the Prince. The Prince's ability is terrible in this current meta because the Juggernaut provides stun immunity, meaning his stun actually doesn't do anything. And his traits aren't even good either. Noble, one of the worst traits in the game. Brawler for him, I mean, it's not even beneficial. You don't even need him to survive for that long. So the Prince is literally a wasted slot on your team comp unless you're going for like 4 brawlers or something. Now the Barbarian is a similar story. His traits are actually decent. Clan obviously is a very good trait, however his stats are very bad. He is actually pretty good in the early game if you do get that Archer and Barb combo in round 1 that often carries, but other than that the Barbarian is pretty weak. The only reason you should ever be going Barb is for full clan. That is the only justification. Next up guys, we have the E-Giant. Now the E-Giant recently did get a buff, so his stun is actually very useful. However, the only thing holding him back in my opinion are his traits. His traits are rather niche. The Electric, obviously you'd only run that with the E-Wiz, which is kind of an odd scenario. And the Avenger isn't very common as well, but you can run it in certain scenarios. So I think overall the E-Giant is actually a pretty decent card. However, there are better options when it comes to most comps. Same story with the E-Wiz. The E-Wiz is also extremely niche guys. The Electric and Mage trait are both 2 out of 2 traits, so you'd only use them with the other respective card. But other than that, the E-Wiz actually has very good damage. When paired with the Electric trait, you can take off like half the HP with 1 zap. So he's very good individually, it's just that his traits and his synergies are not the best. Next up, the Wizard actually provides very valuable splash damage for a 2 elixir card. However, his traits are very niche. He's only good in that Fire and Blasters comp, and that's it. The Mage trait is actually terrible, one of the most useless traits in the game because of the Juggernaut buff. And Fire is actually pretty decent, but again, he's only good when you pair him with the Baby Dragon. Now, the Knight being this low on the tier list might shock you guys, but it's for a good reason in my opinion, and it's that his traits are not too good and he's not very impactful in the late game. Even in the early game, he's not useful unless you have that Juggernaut buff, so he's really only reliant on the other Juggernauts. So he's really only used as like a supplementary unit, not as an individual carry unit, so he's only good for that Juggernaut trait, and that's it. Again, the Noble trait is actually terrible. You shouldn't really be forcefully going for it. It's more of like a side effect. Next up guys, the Archer has moved up significantly on the tier list because of the most recent Rangers buff. The Rangers is now one of the strongest traits in the game because its ramp up actually does a lot of damage now, and the Archer is one of the best Rangers to use. Since she synergizes well with the Valkyrie, which provides the Juggernaut and the Clan buff, so the Archer is definitely the top 2 Ranger along with the Dark Goblin to go for synergy wise. Now the Spear Goblin is one of the best early game cards because of his Goblin trait, and the Goblin trait did recently get a buff, meaning that you can actually get Dark Goblins now from 2 out of 4 synergy, so the Goblins are actually much more powerful than they were before. The only thing holding the Spear Goblin back is that he's not used in any late game comps, so he's really only an early game demon and nothing else. Same thing with the Goblin, guys. The Goblin is a beast early on because of that Goblin trait. However, in the late game, he's pretty useless unless you're rocking him with that Golden Knight for the double assassin synergy. But even that's pretty niche, like you usually don't run assassins, so the Goblin is kind of a middle of the pack card. Next up, guys, the P.E.K.K.A. actually moved up significantly on the tier list because of the most recent Ace synergy buff. The P.E.K.K.A. does so much damage, especially early game and mid game, to single target units, and when you have that aced up P.E.K.K.A., he does so much damage. And he heals so much from every hit, so often what you'll have is a P.E.K.K.A. who hits like a truck and who heals with every attack. And the P.E.K.K.A. is actually used in one of the best comps in the game right now with the Witch and the Blasters comp. The Valkyrie is always a very solid card, however she has dropped a bit on the rankings because there are much better Juggernauts to run in this current meta. She's still extremely good when you pair her with Clan and the Skeleton King to provide that Juggernaut buff to your entire clan, but there's just so many better options now, including the Goblin Machine and the Skeleton King when you just want to run the Juggernauts trait in more general comps like the Blasters, where that Valkyrie wouldn't exactly make too much sense, so therefore she has dropped a bit on the rankings. The Mega Knight has also fallen a bit now that there are better ace options. The Mega Knight's ability also isn't as useful as it was in the previous season because his stun is overridden by the CC immunity that the Juggernaut shields give. However, the Mega Knight is still a very valid card because after the shields go down, his stun is insanely huge and he can just hit multiple units at once, making him able to stall the game for so much longer. Archer Queen has stayed in a relatively similar place because I believe she's a very balanced card in the game. She doesn't have insane carry potential like she did in Season 1, however, when she's leveled up, she is able to snipe the backline because of her range and still do considerable damage. However, I wouldn't call her busted, which is why she's not at the very top of the ranking. But she's still used in a lot of good comps like Clan and paired with the Witch to get that Avenger trait, so she's still an extremely viable option. Next up, the Golden Knight has actually fallen off from the very top. He was actually the top 1 card that I ranked in the last season. And the reason he's fallen off is that he's just so much more inconsistent now because everybody knows that he's busted and everybody looks to counter him. A good example of this is that everyone defaults to running anti-assassin placement with the Juggernauts, which makes it so much harder for that Golden Knight to get the kill. But of course, if he does get that kill, he gets so much value, but the problem is that he's just not getting that kill in a lot of scenarios anymore. You'll still be able to hit those crazy clips every once in a while, but in a lot of cases, he just feels really underwhelming when he does not get a kill. Next up, guys, the Musketeer has shot up considerably since the previous season. Ever since people discovered that the 2 Blasters was the best comp in the game, which the Musketeer is one of the 2 Blasters, everybody has been using her and finding the value. The Musketeer literally defends everything because she knocks everything back periodically, preventing the other cards from even crossing over to your side. And the fact that she can knock giant skeleton bombs out of your team's radius makes it absolutely broken. So pair her with the Executioner and the Thrower's trait and she'll be knocking everything back while your Executioner utilizes that range synergy trait. Next up, of course, is the Giant Skeleton. The Giant Skeleton is always an extremely valuable card because his Death Bomb damage, of course, did get a 50% damage buff, and his Damage Bomb also just does so much damage to so many different troops. If you place him correctly, he'll do so much damage, even like half the HP to the entire team, making him extremely consistent and valuable. It's pretty much impossible to block him from getting value with his bomb, so the fact that he can always get value definitely puts him at the top of the list. The Witch is definitely one of those solo carry cards because at a high level she can spawn infinite skeletons, making it seem like a skeleton army is on your side. Her traits are also pretty decent. Undead is okay, Avenger is also okay, nothing too crazy in that regard though. But the one thing holding the Witch back in my opinion is that she basically gives the Fire trait free upgrades, making it so that if you face a Baby Dragon and a Wizard, you're pretty much dead. But in pretty much every other matchup, she's a very good counter to the Dark Goblin because the Dark Goblin gets distracted and other comps she just completely melts. Next up, guys, the best Fire Troop card is the Baby Dragon. Now, the Baby Dragon splash damage is actually insane. If you're using the Baby Dragon, you know that she can hit like 5 units at once, even when they're spread out, which is actually kind of nuts. And if you're going against the Baby Dragon, you know just how annoying that can be. She also has the Blasters trait, which is insane, probably the best or one of the best traits in the game right now, so that definitely helps. And she can be used in the top 1 comp in the game right now, the Double Blasters comp. Next up, guys, as the second best Juggernaut, you have the Skeleton King. Now, the Skeleton King is just so tanky. He spawns skeletons as well, and he does so much damage. Yes, he is a 5 elixir card, so he is on the expensive side. However, that is the only thing holding him back. His stats his ability, and everything else. His traits are just amazing. And the Skeleton King is used in so many meta comps, like the Blasters comp, like the Clan comp as well, so he's used in the top 3 comps. Alright guys, we're in the top 3 now, and the third best troop in the game, in my opinion, is the Executioner. The Executioner has phenomenal traits. The Ace and the Blaster are phenomenal. He's used in the best comp in the game right now, the Double Blaster Synergy. And if you ace up that Executioner, because of the most recent balance changes that did buff the Ace trait, the Executioner will do so much damage and heal at the same time. And if you pair him with the Musketeer will knock everything back while he just uses that ranged Blasters trait and to get so much damage on the other team. The second best troop in the entire game is the Goblin Machine, because the Goblin Machine is a picture perfect card, everyone. His traits are perfect. The Goblin trait helps you farm economy early on. The Juggernaut trait is a trait you should be using in every comp, I would say. His ability is also amazing. He stuns, he throws out missiles periodically, which provide endless stun value, and can basically slowly kill off the other range units and just slowly stuns and stalls out the entire game. Lastly, everyone, to nobody's surprise, the top card in the entire game is the Dart Goblin. With the introduction of the Goblin Queen and the most recent balance changes buffing the Goblin trait, allowing you to get Dark Goblins with 2 out of 4 Goblin trait, you can literally get an endless amount of Dark Goblins now, so the Dark Goblin shortage is non-existent, and the card itself is insane when you pair him with the Rangers. So he's an incredibly busted card when you pair him with the Rangers, and you literally can 3-star him in any game because you can farm infinite copies with the Goblin trait. Also, with the Goblin Queen, you can easily 4-star him in a lot of cases, so he can literally 1v5 and melt the entire team.